So the question has been asked a lot previously, would Rangers and Celtic do well in the Premier League? Well, given Rangers' recent success in European competition after reaching the final of the Europa League, I thought I would re-enter that debate again. Using the power of Football Manager, I have been able to put Rangers and Celtic into the Premier League to see how they would actually get on. We're going to take a look how they get on in their first season and in their second season. We're also going to see what actually happens to the Scottish division as well, see if there are new champions up north of the border. But also in this video, I will also show how you can get this database and play it yourself in Football Manager, but that's for later. First and foremost, let's dive in and take a look at Rangers and Celtic in the Premier League. So guys, here is the database. We have Rangers and Celtic in the Premier League, as you can see. Now, I will say this database has been created by the amazing CTxCB. Helps me with all my database related stuff and content, so please do go and show him some love. His link to Twitter will be down in that description. Make sure you go and drop him a follow because the man's a wizard with this database. But as you can see, Celtic and Rangers are in the Premier League. Now, what we've done with this is, because to allow two new teams in, we've not messed with the rules of the league structure or anything like that. We've just taken the lowest two reputation teams in each division and shunted them down a division. Now, we've done that all the way down, I think, into the 6th or 7th tier of English football. So unfortunately, in this instance, I believe it is Watford and Brentford who have now been relegated to the Championship, and then it sort of trickles down from there. But this is the Premier League, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do get on. Obviously, Football Manager gives you the in-game odds of how they expect teams to get on, but as you can see, Rangers, Celtic in the Premier League. So let's have a look at this season preview. Now, obviously, they have replaced two of the teams at the bottom of the league, and unfortunately for Rangers and Celtic fans, it's not looking good. According to the in-game pre-game odds, which obviously just accumulates all of the information that it can do in terms of player attributes and stuff like that, Rangers 600 to 1 to win the Premier League, Celtic 700 to 1 to win the Premier League. They are expected to finish 18th and 19th respectively, with just newly promoted Norwich the only team with worse odds. We've also got Burnley down there as well, but it's not looking good for the two teams in Scotland. But what I am going to say, guys, is please do let me know down in the comments how you think this would actually pan out in real life if these two juggernauts of Scottish football were in the Premier League. We're also going to dive in and take a look. Before we start things, we're going to have a look at Scotland. No, I'm not going to look at this, and I think it's Cinch, isn't it? The Cinch Premiership. It is the Cinch Premiership. So obviously Rangers are the holders, and in terms of the previous winners, it's been dominated by the two clubs from Glasgow since Aberdeen won it in the 80s. So what's going to happen this year? Obviously we've done similar here. We've replaced the teams in that Premiership, the Cinch Premiership, and in terms of the pre-season odds, newly promoted Hearts are now the favourites to win that. What we're going to do in this video, we're going to jump forward a season to see how the first season gets on. We're going to do a second season as well, and then we're going to kind of show you guys how to install this database, how to set up a game yourself and get in and get playing, because I'm sure some of you guys who are Rangers and Celtic fans will really want to play this database. So let's simulate this first season and see how those two clubs get on in English football. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the Scottish Premiership to see who won the division in the absence of both Celtic and Rangers, and the winner is Livingston. Livingston top the table with 61 points. Then we've got Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeen and Dundee rounding off the top 5 in those respective positions. Now, this looks like a lot tighter of an SPL table compared to what we have seen previously. Let me know, Scottish football fans, if you think this would be a benefit to the division, or if you think actually having Celtic and Rangers in there is a testament to the division and kind of really does help boost the profile. In this instance, you're going to have Livingston and you're going to have Hibs going into the Championship League. You're going to have Hearts in the Europa Conference League alongside Dundee United, and then Aberdeen, I believe, as Scottish Cup winners will then go into the Europa League. But now let's head down to the Premier League to find out how Celtic and Rangers got on. So unfortunately, Celtic and Rangers fans, both clubs were relegated from the Premier League alongside Norwich. 23 points for Rangers here, 29 points for Norwich. Both of them a little bit of a ways away from safety. Man City win the league in this particular simulation. Rangers picking up victories against Celtic at home, Wolves, Brighton, Leeds and Norwich. Celtic retrospectively picking up victories against Leicester, Wolves, Norwich, Palace, Norwich again, Everton and Brighton, but unfortunately it was not enough. Both teams are relegated, so we will do a second season here just to see if the redemption arc can kind of help the parachute payments that they're going to get for being in English football, to see how that does go. But that is unfortunate for both of the two teams from Scotland. Both get relegated. I assume Henrik Larsson is now the Celtic manager and the Rangers manager is still 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 𝙈𝙗, which is nice to see, but they will both be dropping down into the Championship for a second season. I will simulate this second season. We'll be back to take a look at that in just a second. So after 2 seasons without Celtic and Rangers in Scottish football, Aberdeen are now the top team in Scotland, winning it in the second season. Hearts, St Johnstone, St Mirren and Livingston round off that top 5 up in Scotland. Elsewhere, if we dive into the Premier League, we can see who managed to win the Prem again, and it was Manchester City. But obviously, the 2 teams that we are considering are in the Sky Bet Championship. So if we drop down a division, you can see the playoff final here. Blackburn versus Bournemouth. We've got a Celtic player inside the top goal scorers, guys, so this could be quite interesting. Also, Rangers goalkeeper as the second highest number of clean sheets in the division. If we expand the stages and we go into the league table, have either of the sides got promoted again? No. Okay, so after 2 seasons in English football, both teams were relegated from the Premier League. Rangers in that second season do finish in the playoff places in the Sky Bet Championship. Celtic just outside, finishing just below Bristol City, but Rangers unfortunately losing in that playoff semi-final. If we take a look at their schedule, who did they play? It's a nice little run here in December for them. If we take a look, they played Blackburn Rovers. They lost 2-0 at home. Czech Toussaint and Taylor Richards with the goals, and then drew 2-2 at Ewood Park. It'd be interesting to see how they got on for another season, or if you would like to take over this database and run it yourself and see if you can save these teams from being relegated in the Premier League. Let's move into the next section on how to install this database. So guys, the first thing you're going to want to do is go down into the description and you will find a link to this database on FM Scout. That will take you to this page right here. It's not actually live at the time of recording, but it will be by the time you go to click it. If you go onto this page, you can see a little bit more about the database if you want. There are some notes in there that you guys can consider, but I know most of you are going to want to just download this database. So you hit this download now button. That will take you to Mediafire and you will hit this download button here. Once you have done so, your file will start to download in the bottom left hand corner. If you go on here, you click show in folder, and let me just swing this one across. You can see here I've got it, Celtic and Rangers in the EPL. If we cut this one, then you need to find where this lives in your editor data folder. So if you go into your documents, you go into Sports Interactive, you go into FM22, your location may be slightly different, but if you go into editor data and paste that file into here, obviously you can see I've already got it here, Celtic and Rangers in the EPL. That is all you need to do with the file. Now obviously on Mac, I will say it is slightly different. What I would suggest if you are on Mac trying to get this to work would be to use your Finder and search for this Sports Interactive folder and then follow the steps. The file structure is there, but Macs sometimes do things slightly different, so being able to use your Finder to actually locate where this file should go is probably the best way to do it. Paste it into here, then you go into the game and you set up a new game. So now you are in game and you're ready to do the in-game step. If you go on to start a new game here and you go on to career here, then you need to go up to this database section in the top right hand corner. Now obviously you can see it is 22.4.0 on the latest update. You need to go into here and make sure that this one is currently ticked, the Celtic and Rangers in the EPL. Make sure that one is ticked, and then you can confirm and move things forward. If you go into your advanced setup, set up your game however you would like, and then those teams will be playable in those English countries in the Premier League, and you can get to work to seeing if you can do better than how they did in my current simulations. And let me know down in the comment section how you think Rangers and Celtic would do in real life if this were a thing to happen. Obviously they are juggernauts of football up in Scotland. Could they be the same with that fan base, with that passionate drive to be such a success? Would they do the same in English football? Let me know down in the comments. If you've enjoyed it, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Until next time guys, take care.